Rampure, and I am a lecturer in HDSI here at UCSD, where I've been for 2.5 years now. So a little bit about my story. I'm originally from Canada, and I did my undergrad and master's degrees in computer science at UC Berkeley, where I had the chance to TA a lot as an undergrad, kind of like being a tutor here at UCSD, and also even teach some of my own courses. And then after that, I came to UCSD in 2021 to teach data science courses. And some of the courses I often teach are DSC 10, which is like the intro course in the DSC major. I also frequently teach DSC 40A, which is kind of like a math heavy class, and DSC 80, which is a sophomore level practical data science class. And one of my other main responsibilities is overseeing the senior capstone program, where all fourth year data science seniors have to do a 2-quarter research project with a faculty member or an industry partner. Great question. So the first time I was ever exposed to computer science or programming was in 10th grade in high school, which is almost exactly 10 years ago now. And there I took a introductory programming course along with a lot of the same students who were in my honors math classes. And the course was in Python, and I struggled with it at the beginning. Like, I wasn't, sure how to write a print statement. Wasn't sure how to run my Python scripts. At the time, we were using the text editor or the IDE idle, which is like the default one that you get when you install Python. But really quickly, I started to enjoy it. And the moment that really made it all click for me and made me realize, okay, like, this is really interesting and what I want to spend my time doing once I go to university is over winter break. I mean, this was a full year-long class. The teacher gave us this project where essentially you had to replicate Microsoft Paint in Python, and using this package called Pygame. And the spec that he gave us wasn't that involved. There were just a few features that everyone had to implement. Okay, you have to have a draw tool, you have to have an erase tool, you have to have a tool where you can make shapes, things like that. But after that, he was kind of just like, whatever else you do after here is really up to you. And so, once I got the initial features of the project working, I spent my entire winter break that year, and even time after that, really trying to perfect and make my paint project, as we call it, as cool as it could be. And I spent so much time brainstorming new features and looking up ways to implement them. And I spent so much time on that project, but it never really felt like a school project. It was just something that I felt like I was I couldn't really think of any other way to have more fun than working on my paint project. And after that, I was kind of okay, yeah, lots of people talk about computer science as being the future or a good major to do in college. And after that paint project and subsequent projects in that class and in the following year, which was in Java, I was convinced. And so that's what got me into computing. Before that, I was always more of a mathy person, and I still kind of am, which is why I'm excited to teach classes like DSC 40A. I guess in the CSE side, something like CSE 21, for example, I really like teaching that sort of mathy class. But what made me decide to pursue computer science in undergrad was that formative experience making that paint project. Yeah, so if you're unsure of which field within computing to pursue, UCSD is great because it has, computer science and data science and computational social science, and there's a lot of different departments, and as a result, different perspectives through which you can learn computing, right? And so the nice part about the quarter system is that you have 12 quarters if you're here for 4 years to take courses. And so there's a lot of time for you to iterate and say, hey, okay, I took this class, I don't really like it, I want to do something different. Or I took this class and I really want to dive deep into it. Well, then you have 11 more quarters to do that. And so what I'd recommend, if you're not really sure what you want to do, is just take a few different courses that expose you to computing from different perspectives. So if you come in and you choose to take CSE 8A and you say, hey, I really liked us learning about how to, solve different problems algorithmically, and I want to learn more about writing efficient code and study programming as a construct deeper, well, then you might want to take classes like CSE 8B and then CSE 12 and pursue the computer science route. Or if you take CSE 8A and you say, hey, I've heard about this like data science thing, and maybe what I want to do is learn how to use real data and like analyze that instead of, say, for example, building software, well, then you might want to take DSE 10 and explore that route. And again, the beauty of the quarter system is there's plenty of time to do both of these things and then decide which path you want to pursue further. One thing I will say is that, and again, this is not official advice, like no one told me to say this, but I don't think that, the choice of computing major or computing pathway you make restricts you from pursuing different careers. That is, if you're a data science major, I don't think that means you can't get software engineering jobs. And if you're if you're a computer science major, I don't think that means you can't get data science jobs. I think a lot of what you learn in school is just like really added technical depth and like learning how to learn and learning how to solve problems. And those sorts of skills are generally transferable to all sorts of different jobs. So at some point you're gonna have to pick something and you're gonna have to major in something, but I don't think the decision that you make is really the end of the world, because after a while, once you've like gotten exposure to learning a bunch of different concepts, you know how to learn on your own, and so you can research whatever is necessary to do well at sort of whatever job it is that happens to interest you once you leave UCSD. Yeah, so the main resource I found useful as an undergrad is other people, right? And so the way I like to think of it, especially now that we live in a post-COVID world, is like the reason you're paying UCSD tuition isn't so that you can go to lecture or watch podcasts, right? Because for any topic you want to learn, there already are videos on YouTube that you could learn it, learn that topic using, right? So the point of paying tuition isn't just to see the material in lecture. Instead, it's to be part of like this community of learners who are there learning alongside with you and there to help you along your journey, right? Like it's having access to other people who are in your class, or TAs and tutors who have taken your class recently and are there to help you succeed. And of course, faculty members who are there to sort of answer any of the questions you have and also like curate this learning experience where they want you to do some of your learning in lecture, some of it in homework, some of it in projects, some of it in exams. So like other people are your biggest resource. And while it's, totally fine and in fact necessary to use online tools like, Stack Overflow or Googling things or ChatGPT to help yourself get unstuck, like the main reason or value of being at a school like UCSD is other people. And so I use that to say, office hours are huge, right? Take advantage of those as much as you can. I see lots of students forming community just by being in the like common room in the new HDSI building, which like I guess the CSE equivalent of that is the CSE basement, right? Go there, attend office hours, even if you don't have any questions, right? Like that's how you'll meet other people in your classes, how you'll become better friends or peers with the tutors in your classes who have like already done this and have advice to share with you for future classes. Going to office hours and like finding other people in the program that you connect with, that's like, been super helpful. It was super helpful to me at least. And then on top of that, one of the like related ideas is having a like support group of friends, perhaps outside of office hours, that you can always rely on when working on homeworks or studying for exams, right? Like it would be, quite difficult to go through any of these computing pathways without knowing other people in them, that you can say, hey, I'm really confused on how pivot tables work. I don't know, just a DSE 80 example, because I'm teaching that right now. It's one thing to go on Ed or Piazza and ask people or go to office hours, but it's also really nice to just have a friend who also is struggling with pivot tables that you can just ask and say, hey, I know you were struggling with that. What did you do to fix it? Or like, hey, I know you did well in the midterm and I struggled a little bit with it. Like, what did you do that helped you do well? Or like, can I study with you? Or can you quiz me? Can we quiz each other? That sort of thing, right? So like other people are your biggest resource at a place like this. Yeah, I'd say there are two sorts of flavors of challenges. One flavor of challenge, which will happen to everyone at some point, is like family related struggles that take away both your time and your like ability to focus on things. And so, everyone will go through some sort of hardship at some point in life, whether it's in undergrad or after undergrad. And so, at one point, at some level, it's important to step back and realize, okay, like, someone very dear to me is sick. Like, maybe doing well in DSE AD isn't my number one priority here. And my experience in undergrad and also in working with other instructors at UCSD is that people tend to be pretty understanding. And, if you're ever going through anything, tell the dean of your college, tell your instructors, like everyone's here to sort of ensure that you have all of the resources you need to succeed given your environment. But in addition to that, like something I struggled with on a more regular basis was just time management, right? Like, if you sign up to be in a bunch of clubs and then also take more classes than perhaps is a good idea to take, you'll often find yourself with, many more things to do than there are hours in the day. And it's on you to sort of prioritize what are you going to do when. And so figuring out how to best manage my time is something that I struggled quite a bit with. And it all ended up being okay, but it's like an evolving problem. It's not like I have the answer to time management now either. I'm still, busier than I was in undergrad right now. And everything eventually gets done, but perhaps there's a better way that I could be prioritizing right now what I need to do, and it's just something we're all working on. But some things that help with time management are basic productivity tools. Like, for example, putting everything in your calendar so you don't miss anything, and trying to prioritize. If you know you're gonna have to do something in 2 weeks from now, block out time in your calendar for it in 2 weeks, or the days leading up to that, so that that time is already baked into your schedule, so you don't like schedule things on top of that. And also, whenever you open your calendar, you know that thing is upcoming, and you need to start thinking about it. But procrastination is something I still struggle with, and I think many people do. How did I get involved as a student on campus? Great question. At some level, I was part of a bunch of different clubs. Like, for example, I was an organizer for Cal Hacks at Berkeley, which is kind of like the equivalent of Triton Hacks or Data Hacks. I wasn't super involved. I'm not going to claim that I was like the person who made the event run or anything, but like I was one of the organizers for maybe like a year. And that was really cool because it helped me just, have something to do with other people who were in my classes, but that it wasn't directly related to our classwork. So it was just like a nice social activity and gave me experience in, for example, like reaching out to sponsors to like fund our events and stuff like that. But the main way I got involved on campus was like through undergraduate teaching, like the equivalent of being a tutor or IA here at UCSD. Like I did that for essentially every semester I was in undergrad minus my very first semester. And that's kind of why I am where I am here today. Like I taught a lot as an undergrad. At Berkeley, there was this program called the DCAL program. I think it stands for Democratized Education at Cal. And essentially, I kind of wish we had this program here at UCSD, but like it lets undergrads create their own classes on like whatever they want to teach about, as long as somebody approves the syllabus. And so for the most part, like decals that existed were on fun topics. Like the example I usually give is like Introduction to Harry Potter or something like that. But like I taught like a discrete math decal, and like I spent a lot of time on that, but that like kind of helped me get jobs like this one. I spent a lot of time TAing, leading discussion sections, helping write exams, making walkthrough videos, stuff like that. That was like the main way I was involved. And not only did it help career-wise, obviously, but also it was like a great way to meet other people and make friends. Like some of my closest friends that I still am in touch with every day today, I met through being an undergrad TA. So I'd highly recommend, as I tell all of my students every quarter, like you really want to be a tutor if you can. Of course, it's competitive, but it's like one of the best ways to make sure you really understand the material. Like every time I teach one of the classes I teach right now, I understand the material way better after having taught it. Just one pass at the material isn't always enough. Did I have a mentor? Good question. I wouldn't say I had a single mentor who I got guidance from for everything, but like for different things, I would ask different people for advice. So like, for example, when it came time for me to apply for software engineering internships, which like might be pertinent to people watching this video, like I would reach out to people who were a year or two older than me who got internships, and I would ask them, okay, like what did you do? Like how can I replicate your success? Or when I wanted to become an undergrad TA, I would ask people who were TAs and say, okay, what did you put on your application? What sorts of things have made you successful in your role? Or, more recently, when I started applying to teaching faculty positions like this one, I would ask people who recently were applying to similar positions and said, hey, how did you structure your job applications? What did you do while you were still in school to make yourself a compelling candidate? So I've always tried to seek advice from people who solve the same problems that I'm trying to solve, and I'd recommend you do that as well. You want to learn from other people's mistakes and guidance, and then also once you've accomplished anything or some level of success, also do the same and pay it forward and share your insights with people who are trying to follow in the same path as you. Yeah, I can imagine it's tough right now to be a student because the job market is really challenging, and not as many companies have internships available. People are getting their internship offers rescinded, but know that it's a tough time for everybody, and ultimately it's just a numbers game, right? Some people are getting internships, and it's not even necessarily that they're doing anything special, but they're applying, right? So the advice that I would give, again, I'm not in industry, and I'm not a hiring manager, so I don't know if it's the best advice, but it's a numbers game. So send out as many applications as you can, and don't necessarily wait until you're a sophomore or junior to send them out. You can do it as a freshman as well. Maybe it won't be successful, but by sending out hundreds of applications, some of them will send you a technical coding challenge, and maybe one of them you'll pass and you'll get to talk to a recruiter, right? So even if it doesn't end up materializing to anything, the practice is better than not having any practice. So just send out as many applications as you can, and eventually something will work out. Of course, there the usual advice applies of constructing your resume so that whoever's looking at it has access to links to things that you've done, so that they can look at things that are tangible. Putting class projects on your resume is fine, but pretend there's a class project in, CSE 11, and there's 400 people in CSE 11, and they all put the same project on their resume, and all 400 of them apply to the same internship. Well, then they're all 400 of those people are going to look the same to the person who's doing the hiring, but they're not going to hire all 400 of you, right? So you need to find ways to differentiate yourself from classmates who are already doing the same thing. And so at least in data science students, I always tell them using the tools that we've developed in the class, try and work on your own personal projects and put them on your, make a personal website, link them there, make them really nice and polished and cool so that you can mention them on your resume, and hiring managers can say, oh, wow, this is really cool. I never really thought about this. This is the kind of person we want to work at our company. There are lots of computing, departments at UCSD. So for example, HDSI, computer science, ECE, CogSci. But outside of those departments, basically every other department also uses computing in some way in their research. So for example, people in economics or history or political science or biology, they're all also using tools from computer science and data science in their research. And so, as a first or second year student, you might not yet have the technical depth to maybe you will, but for a lot of researchers, you might not yet have the technical depth to contribute meaningfully to their projects. You might need to take some upper division courses before computer science or data science labs would want you. But after taking something like DSC 10 or CSE 11 or 12, you do certainly have enough experience to contribute meaningfully to projects in other areas that are using computing as part of their research, like doing data analysis. We do that in DSC 10, and there are people on campus who want your help. So, send a lot of cold emails to professors in other departments whose research interests you. With a few Google searches, you should be able to find papers by essentially any professor at UCSD. And also with some Google searches, you can probably also find their graduate students who, again, I don't know if this is good advice, might be more likely to reply to your emails than the professors themselves. So broaden your horizons a little bit and recognize that essentially everyone on campus is using computing in research in some way, and there will be someone out there who wants to use your expertise regardless of what level you're currently at. So keep trying.